You're good whenever.
Okay, so this is our thesis, the monster always escapes. Well, what Cohen means by this is the monster doesn't always escape physically, because we know, like, Dracula dies in the end. But he means, like, the whole concept of the monster lives on into, like, a new age and a different culture. The monster's, like, always reinvented in the new age, and you could see some of the culture in, like, whichever new characteristics he displays. So that pretty much makes the monster eternal, and there's variations of the monster, such as Dracula. Like here's a German, like by a German director. The next one's an American classic, and that one's one from the 70s. It was kind of iconic back then because it had to do with like lesbian vampires and that like sort of it was like broken tip of like.
Yeah, it kind of shows how even though the vampires may physically die, the idea of the monster passes on throughout the different cultures, like the German, the French. The German, the American, and the other one. And then Cohen also states that the monster itself turns immaterial and vanishes to reappear someplace else. It's kind of saying how it physically dies, but then the idea of it still carries on. So it kind of shows how the thesis is saying that the monster concept is kind of immortal, and it never actually goes away.
And one of Cohen's quotes was, "The monster's body is corporal and incorporeal. Its threat is its propensity to shift." So, like, the monster is corporal, and the whole concept of the monster is the incorporeal part, which is like what's passed on as a progeny for throughout generations. And another quote of his is, "Regardless of how many times Sigourney Weaver's believer Ripley utterly destroys the ambiguous alien that stalks her, its monstrous progeny return, ready to stalk again in another bigger than ever sequel." So like that also like goes with the whole concept that the monster lives on as a whole idea.
Yeah, Cohen states that no monster tasted death but once. And that's kind of saying how even though Dracula did die inevitably, it's also saying that there was others like him because once others like Lucy, for example, that he bit turned into another Dracula. So it kind of shows that even though he physically died, others still spread and carried on to different cultures. Like as Dracula's represented in different cultures. Like for example, like every culture has their monsters. The idea itself never dies. I like how even though Dracula died, there's still more vampires.
All right.